Hi, it's Dan Miller. Today I'm talking about agency relationships in real estate. There are only four types: seller agency, buyer agency, no agency, and dual agency. Every realtor is required to explain agency before realtors start working with clients. This form simply acknowledges that it was explained, and this must be signed and given to the realtor's office. Most often it's not signed until a purchase is started, but the law says you must know which agency or realtor has you in before you buy or sell a home. I'm always so surprised that the public has such little knowledge regarding how the agency relationships are used by realtors. You must and will be in one of these four agency relationships in any dealings with a realtor. First, let me speak to you about the Real Estate Council of British Columbia. This is not an association for realtors. It's set in place by the provincial government to govern realtors' actions and make rules of duties and responsibilities, and often to make certain that the public is protected. This council is the court of last resort for claims and complaints in every real estate transaction and determines how realtors must act. Now, we'll talk about the agencies. Buyer and seller agency are under designated agency. Seller agency is straightforward. The home is put up for sale with a listing contract. The realtor must disclose the size and characteristics of the home, plus any latent defects. These are problems that cannot be readily seen, but that's about all. It's up to the buyer to investigate everything else and see if they want to purchase it. Buyer agency is straightforward also, but the responsibility for investigation of properties for their clients is huge. The buyer's agent must show and tell everything and assist in determining good value as well. It's the buyer agent's responsibility to make certain that your information, desires, and limitations are kept secret so that the seller cannot use these against you in any counteroffer. A good buyer's agent who is protecting you is worth their weight in gold. The third agency is no agency. The public generally does not recognize no agency for what it is, but it's simply what it says. You have absolutely no representation whatsoever. The realtor is not required to help you with anything except writing and explaining a fair worded contract and telling you where and how you can get financing. If you make any errors or mistakes, that's just too bad. Not even an expensive lawyer or an accountant can get you out of a contract that you sign. Since you're not being represented by anyone but yourself, this is really buyer beware. It's used most often in new construction, particularly for condos and townhomes, but will also be used when you buy a home through a seller's agent who does not want to be in a limited dual agency relationship. So we'll get to the fourth one, limited dual agency. When you call a listing agent and ask to view their home, and then tell them that you want to write a contract to buy it, the agent's only choices are no agency or dual agency. In limited dual agency, the realtor absolutely must not favor one party over the other. They must not disclose any information about either party to the other. They must not disclose or suggest that the seller is willing to take a lower price. And they must not disclose to the seller that the buyer is willing to pay a higher price. They also must not disclose the motivation of the buyer or the seller. These are very high standards to live up to that all realtors must comply with. But often the realtor can show you a list of properties and ask you where you think or guess your offer price should be. I hear people saying, buy my listing through me and I'll get you a better price. In seller agency, the list price and the sell price are the biggest part of any listing conversation with the owner. So it's obvious that the realtor already knows where your price should be. If the realtor has already promised loyalty to the seller, they're either disclosing information about motivation and price, or they're leading you to a price that has already been discussed by the two of them, even if you're being offered a commission kickback, which happens sometimes. In limited dual agency, the realtor owes you the same duty and responsibility as in strict buyer agency, so he must be proving value to you by showing you what similar homes have sold for. If this does not happen, how can you be assured that you're not agreeing to a price that's too high? My suggestions regarding the agency relationships is that you should have your own trusted representation in any transaction. Sellers have this with their listing contract. Buyers need to choose their representation carefully as well.